Welcome back to the Sixth and Seventh Man podcast. I'm your host, Matt. As always, here with my co-host, Booba. Booba, how we doing?
Good. Just watched Sam Merrill just hit a crap ton of threes. So hyped. Cavs are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go.
Yes, sir. I I was kind of hoping for a decent game 7. Unfortunately, we have ourselves another blowout, but it's all good. It was a good series. The Cavs probably should have closed it game 6, but they decided to show up tonight and actually play some good defense. Detroit doesn't know how to get a rebound anymore, and that cost them a lot. Not saying that was the difference of the game, but it did make a pretty big difference when the Cavs just kept getting rebound after rebound after rebound. And I'm officially tired of Jalen Duren.
Yeah, I. This is why I wasn't too hyped on him during the regular season. I've just seen the story one too many times. Jared Allen was the same way the last few years. I mean, Blake Griffin was not as bad, but definitely his numbers dipped. And I just see it a lot with these big guys. They have great regular seasons and they come playoffs. It's just the same old story. They get, I wouldn't say exposed, but the game just slows down for them and buckets are a lot more hard to come by. Um, but yeah, it's a tough series, tough playoffs for Jalen Duren for sure. That's that's rough.
Yeah. He had maybe one, maybe 2 games even worth talking about, but nothing. I don't even know if he had a 20-point game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be an all-star, second option. That's the reason you're not in the conference finals, is because you weren't that. Tobias Harris gave him what he could, but Cade needs some help out there. He's doing everything on offense, and he did a good job. He averaged like 30 through the playoffs or whatever he ended up averaging, but it's not going to be enough when you can't get buckets, and your defense could be really good, but still not going to be enough. You got to get buckets somehow, other than one guy. When the defense can just hone in on stopping one guy and leaving a bunch of guys open and letting a bunch of guys ISO, it's going to be tough to win any series that way.
Yeah, for sure. But like you said, Tobias gave him everything that he could. It's just tough. Duren is supposed to be your second option, and he wasn't. And then you pair that with Thompson, who's not much of a scoring threat. So you basically have 2 guys who are non-existent. Um, Big shout out to Duncan Robinson. He played really well as far as the offensive end goes. But it's just Cade did all he could for them to go 7 games against the Cavs, who I think is a way better team offensively. Maybe not as strong defensively, but to push them to 7 in decent job by Detroit, I guess. But like you said, they're literally not in the Eastern Conference Finals because of Jalen Duren.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer for Detroit because, as we know, Jalen Duren is a restricted free agent. Detroit can offer him a contract. They can wait to see what other teams offer him. I'm interested to see what he gets, because just because you're big and strong doesn't necessarily mean you deserve a max contract. And from what I've seen, he doesn't deserve a max contract. I don't see the post skill. I see like little flashes here and there, but this is the end of your 4th season. It should be more than just a flash, especially in the playoffs. The fact that you couldn't even get me a game, 20 points, his presence wasn't really, like, he didn't really have a dominant presence in the paint as far as rebounding or defense. I don't know what he ends up getting. We'll see. But I think there's no way they can give him a max. If they give him a max, I think you're kind of just throwing your championship window, or you're just messing up your championship window, because it's going to be harder to bring other talent in. They obviously need a second scorer. I think that should be priority number 1. And Asar Thompson is also due for an extension this year. It'll be interesting to see if they give that to him this year or if they wait another year to see what improvement he makes. I'm sure he's going to want the max, as they all do. We'll see if that ends up happening, but it's going to be a very interesting offseason. Like I said, priority number 1 should be getting more scoring.
Yeah, we'll see what they do as far as I mean, their books are kinda open right now because 'cause they're not paying many people, so if you move off of Duren, hopefully let's see what they do. I don't You gotta look at the free agents, which we'll get to, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
who they could bring in or who they'd wanna trade or sign for.
Well, from the looks of it, there's going to be a lot of movement this offseason, whether it's free agents or trades.
Yeah.
A lot of questions for a lot of teams. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. I'm just peeking over at the game. Down 30. I mean,
Jeez.
unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate end to a good season. I mean, it was a productive season for them. They ended up in the second round, almost to the conference finals. I think if you're the front office, you got to be happy given what your roster is. And you obviously see what your team needs. And hopefully that's going to be an aggressive front office that makes the right moves and puts them in a position to possibly get further in the playoffs next year.
Yeah. This I would say it's a disappointing season considering how they played. They were the number 1 seed. The only positive, you just said it, is you can see the holes on this team,
Yeah.
and it should be pretty obvious what changes you need to make.
That being said, let's move to the team that beat them. What did you see from the Cavs that you like? And what did you see from the Cavs that you don't like as they move into the conference finals?
Back-to-back game sevens from Jared Allen, 20 plus points, looking good. He was one of those players I just mentioned earlier in his career, even with the Cavs. He would disappear in the playoffs, get ran off the court, but that's not the case. And if him and Mobley are energized, going, they're a very tough team to beat. Um, I think if this team is playing how they play today, they can beat anyone, even any team in the West. But that's a lot of what ifs that need to go right. Donovan Mitchell had a heck of a game. James Harden, not much on the offensive end as far as scoring goes, but he got his teammates involved. Um, Not many turnovers, I don't think he had a few, but he got Allen Mobley opened a lot. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. And then the role players. Schroeder was big for them. Sam Merrill was huge for them. Stroud throughout the series was big for them. So, I mean, I know it's a lot of what ifs, but if everything gels like it did today, they can beat anyone. So, very, very impressed actually with how the Cavs played today.
Yeah. Impressed today. Not impressed throughout the series, but
No.
a series is long and guys go through slumps. Once again, James Harden gets saved by his teammates in the game seven because he was extremely unimpressive in this game, in my opinion. Same as the last one, but they won by 30, so they obviously didn't need him. Donovan Mitchell, once again, doing what he does as he should. The bigs being aggressive on the glass was huge. They just made Jalen Duren look invisible out there
Yeah.
on the glass as well as everyone else around him. And they're going to need that against the Knicks because the Knicks have pretty good size, especially with Mitchell Robinson out there. Cat's a good rebounder. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Brunson's going to give them a lot of trouble, but he gives everyone a lot of trouble. That being said, I think they're going to pick on Brunson just as everyone else does, which will be interesting. Who do you think you give the edge to in this series? The Knicks are playing really good ball, obviously coming off of a sweep. They've won 7 straight now. They've also had a week off.
Yeah. Um, I'd need to see the health of OG. I think he's the X factor in this series. Because we saw what the defense of the Pistons did to Mitchell in a few games and the Harden. So I think he's the X factor in that series. But regardless, I'll give the edge to the Knicks. They're I think they know what their identity is. Cleveland, I'm not sure what their identity is. I mean, I just feel like it's a lot of ISO ball there, pick and rolls, and then just go downhill, go from there. It should be a good series. I know we just said the Sixers and Knicks should have been a good series because Brunson will get exposed, but I mean the Knicks just swept them in 4. But this is a different series, so we'll see how Cleveland I don't know. I gotta see.
I think
It's
Cleveland presents more of
so
a challenge to Cat defensively.
yeah,
Cat was essentially able to do whatever he wanted on Philly because they didn't really have a guy who could consistently guard him. Embiid wasn't super effective because he doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with Cat on the perimeter. So a lot of times he wasn't even guarding him. And the Cavs have two guys who have pretty good foot speed, especially Mobley, a really good defender. So that you're going to put Cat under a lot of pressure and the passes aren't going to be as easy as they have been. That being said, Brunson's going to do what he does. But I think if you're the Cavs or any team for that matter, you kind of want to force the Knicks into playing Brunson ball where he's dribbling the clock out, taking up the possession, taking up a lot of the shots, not a lot of ball movement. If you can keep the other guys uninvolved, I think that's your strategy to beating the Knicks. But it's gonna be tricky. I do think the Knicks definitely have the edge just because of how well they're playing. Obviously, OG, if he's not 100% or if he's not playing, that's a huge factor in this series. But I think regardless, I still kind of like the Knicks in this series. I think it goes probably six, but I think the Knicks get away with this one.
yeah. I liked what you said about them defending Towns, but we saw Detroit's defense or sorry, Detroit's offense that was very limited being able to score on the Cavs due to Harden and Mitchell not being able to defend. And I think the Knicks have way more of an offensive threat than Detroit's not even close. So I think that right there is going to be the difference maker. Um, but I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
and then
see how
also
this defense goes.
also with OG, the Cavs only have so many defenders. Like it's probably going to end up being. I hope it's not Harden or Mitchell guarding Brunson because if it is, it's going to be hell. So it's going to end up
Yeah.
being Wade or Struess or I guess
Shooter will
Merrill or
get some
Tyson
minutes.
or yeah, whoever. Yeah, Shooter. Obviously, when he's in there, he'll be guarding. Which actually, if you remember last year, he actually did a pretty good job when he was on the Pistons guarding Brunson. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Obviously, it's a completely new series. The Cavs are also coming off of back-to-back 7-game series. Pretty physical, really physical series, both of them. The Raptors played super physical, so did the Pistons. The Knicks have had a week of rest, which could also be a bad thing. I mean, who knows? We'll see how they come out game one, but it'll be an interesting series. Again, I
Yeah.
still I still give the Knicks the edge. They've been playing really good ball. They've been here before. Last year they were conference finals. They've been in the playoffs the last few years. Obviously switching the team up a little bit in previous years, but I don't know. I think the Knicks are rolling. I think they got a good system going right now, and they should be able to get through it.
Yeah. Their deeper team and home court is going to help them. Those two alone is already an edge over the Cavs.
Yeah. All right. Now we'll talk about out west. Think this is kind of the series everyone expected. Definitely the series I think me and you expected going into the playoffs. This is what we've been looking forward to. Essentially the two top teams all year. Definitely the two top teams in the West. The clear favorites to be here. The Spurs and the Thunder set to face off. What are your thoughts?
It's gonna be very, very interesting. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be. I feel like I could see a little bit of a Thunder Pacers finals as far as there were a couple close games, but there was also some blowouts, and I feel like I could see that. Each team could possibly blow each other out. I give the edge to the Thunder though, due to their experience, and they've been here before. 3 straight years, Western Conference Finals, or
Two.
no, they got that in two. Yeah, they got bounced by Dallas 2 years ago. But yeah, two straight years, finals last year, went to a game seven. So they have the experience. They're getting J-Dub back, which is gonna be big. They need him this series, especially with how much defense San Antonio is gonna throw at Shea and the rest of the guys. Um, But I mean, I the youth and the inexperience of the Spurs is just what's getting me. I don't know, it's just so tough to
Yeah,
yeah.
me and you had this conversation away from the podcast, but it appears that these are going to be two juggernauts for the next decade, really, in the West. Obviously,
Yep.
the NBA being what it is with injuries and player movement and these new contract rules, who knows? It could only last this year. And then next year, everything could be different. You just never know how the league goes. But it appears that this is going to be a matchup we see for a while, similar to how we saw the Lakers and the Spurs going at it for basically a decade, trading who was going to the finals in the West. Both teams are super young. You look at San Antonio's big three, you can call it. All of them are under 22. You look at the Thunder, all the young talent they have. Shea, I think Shea is 26 or 27 now. Other than that, everyone's pretty young on that team. Yes, the Thunder have the experience. They've been here before, but this Spurs team has Wembanyama. He's an X factor like we've never seen before. Just even if he didn't know how to shoot the basketball at all, just his defense alone is an X factor. But the fact that he can be just as good on offense is what's really scary.
Yeah, for sure, but I can go down the list and, you said they have Wemby, well, the Thunder have two-time MVP SGA. What's
Yep.
your next counter? You're gonna say Castle? Well, we have J-Dub who scored 40 in a finals game.
Yep.
And then you have Shet, and then I know you said the big three of the Spurs. I think what gets lost in all that is Fox. He's still pretty
Yep.
young, 27, I think, 28.
For
So, I
sure.
mean, him just hiding and, not getting all the attention that these other guys on the Spurs do is it's crazy. They're super good.
Yeah, I didn't mention Fox because I was just talking about as far as the future of the Spurs. Obviously, when these guys start needing extensions, I think he's going to be the one to go. I think you just got to
I
stick with that young
um,
core. But as of right now, they're going to need Fox to be big in this series. They're going to need a veteran shot maker because
yeah.
this OKC defense, especially in the playoffs, is going to crowd the shit out of these guards. I think they're going to do everything they can to just crowd Wemby and make him somehow keep him out of the paint. I know Minnesota tried like hell to do it. Every team tries like hell to do it. But if there's any team I have faith in on defense, it's this team. They have a lot of guys who can stick with these guards. I don't really think anyone can stick with Wemby, but if any team has a chance, it's this one. Chet is a really good interior defender. Obviously, Wemby's a different animal trying to guard that guy, but we'll see. I'm curious to see what Hartenstein's role is going to be because just offensively for the Thunder, I see it being an issue because is if Hartenstein's on the floor, Wemby's going to be guarding him, which means Wemby's going to be in the paint because Hartenstein isn't necessarily a threat outside of the paint other than his 10 to 15-foot floater, which he makes at an effective level. But when you have Wemby there, it's not going to be as effective. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what they do with his minutes. I see Cason Wallace playing big minutes in this series. I see Caruso playing big minutes in this series. And then, of course, we'll need AJ Mitchell whenever he's going to be on the floor whenever Wemby's on the bench, which is perfect for the Thunder because he attacks the rim and he can get buckets at the rim and create offense off of that as well. So he's going to be an X factor for the Thunder as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I don't think one guy is gonna be left alone against Wemby. We saw it against Denver last year in the playoffs. They kinda just swarmed Jokic. Caruso guarded Jokic a lot, but it wasn't really just only Caruso. There was weak side help. Just the second Jokic touched the ball, there was a second defender flying at Jokic. Um, and I think we're gonna see a lot of that this year or this series. Um, and then you make a good point. If Wemby's off the floor, AJ Mitchell's going to be in, and that's going to be pretty big. I will also point away that if Wemby is guarding Hartenstein, that'll leave Shet with a much smaller defender. Still really good defender. They're all good defenders, but he'll have the height advantage, and Yeah, I know Wemby will be roaming because he won't have to he can sag off a Hartenstein, but we've talked about it and you've talked about it. Chet's a very underrated passer, and the ball movement for OKC is is on point, so they'll be able to swing and knock down shots. So I'm not worried about that.
The Spurs have also been shooting the ball really well, especially Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper
Yeah,
as well. They've
so
been shooting threes really well, things that they're not necessarily known for just because of how much attention Wemby draws. These guys have that extra quarter of a second, which is huge to just set and shoot. I think
mhm.
teams are a little more forgiving just to let them shoot instead of letting Wemby have so much space to operate, which will be interesting to see what the Thunder are willing to sacrifice. Typically, they give up a lot of corner threes. It'll be interesting to see what they're willing to sacrifice on defense to keep Wemby somewhat uninvolved. Obviously, he's not the same level playmaker as Jokic is. So the weak side help will be interesting to see how aggressive they get with that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what I mean, all the attention's on the Spurs and how to stop Wemby. What are the Spurs gonna do to slow down SGA and the Thunder offense as a whole? I mean, we saw the Lakers kinda slow down SGA a little bit, but the other guys for the Thunder definitely stepped up. But the Spurs are a much, much, much better rotating team. You know, you send 2 if you do send 2 at SGA, the Spurs can definitely recover a lot faster than we see in other teams. So I'm curious to what their game plan is against SGA. Do they just leave Dylan Harper or Castle on him on an island? And you could just because you have Wemby waiting if he decides to come in.
Yeah, I think for the Thunder, someone other than SGA is going to need to. I mean, it's going to go game to game. You have J-Dub, you have Chet, you have AJ Mitchell. All of those guys can create a lot of offense by themselves, but one of them's going to need to play a significant role. And again, it could change from game to game, but in order for them to win, you're going to need 45 points between Shea and somebody else consistently. Um,
Yeah, consistently for sure.
yeah, and obviously guys like Jared McCain or Isaiah Joe can come off the bench, hit a few threes. We're going to need them. We're gonna need Caruso to make some threes. That's gonna that's gonna make or break this team as well because San Antonio's gonna let him shoot. They did it during the regular season. I don't see why they wouldn't do it now. When he's on the floor, I think they're gonna let him shoot instead of giving these other guys driving lanes and open shots. I think they're gonna be willing to let him and Casey Wallace shoot them until they start making them. So they're gonna need to make them to keep that defense honest and give the other guys space to operate and work the offense. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun series for sure. We can I mean, I could keep going on and on about this just because the Spurs I mean, both teams are very, very similar. Um, like I said, you know, you said you wanna see more scoring out of these guys from the Thunder other than SGA, but who is that gonna be just because San Antonio's defense is so good? Harper and Castle are really good on-ball defenders. So,
yep.
it's the scoring is gonna be tough in this series for sure.
Yeah, I think this series is going to slow down a lot. They're both really
Mhm.
good defensive teams. They're both really good offensive teams, but at the end of the day, they're better defensive teams than they are offensive teams. That's really the
Yeah.
identity of both these teams. Obviously, when either of them catch fire, it's over for their opponent. So when that does
Yeah.
happen, it'll be whoever catches fire. The other intriguing part about this series, obviously, Wemby has some personal issue against Chet. For whatever reason, he gets way more excited to play defense when he's guarding him, and you can see it in his eyes. You can see it in the way he guards. I've never seen him guard anyone the way he guards him. It's like he's excited for it. And Chet has struggled against him in the league every freaking game I've seen them play against each other. So it'll be interesting. I think Mark Dagnall will have some interesting plays drawn up for Chet to kind of get him some easy buckets and open threes. He's been a hell of a shooter throughout these playoffs, a hell of a player throughout these playoffs. It's going to be tough, but I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting
Yeah.
matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good series. Like I said, other than the experience part for the Spurs, these 2 teams are very similar. You you can't even give the edge to OKC as far as you can't turn the ball over against them because they'll make you pay in transition, but so will the Spurs.
Yep.
So, that's I like what you said, this game you're gonna see the game be slowed down a lot.
Also, the Thunder, a lot of their offense is off of drive and kick. That's essentially the whole concept of their offense is drive and kick, drive and kick. The thing is, the Spurs, they they're not going to be like most other teams where they collapse on the drive, which leads to the open passes, which leads to either a shot or guys in the dunker spot or whatever the Thunder find. Go ahead and drive. We got Wemby back there. You can try and kick it all you want, but they're going to be glued to their opponent out there. It's going to be interesting. I I agree with you. I think the Thunder have the edge simply because of experience. They've been here before. They've been in close games. They've obviously won a chip. But this is going to be a good one for years to come, and I think this is the start. And I think this series is going to be a legendary one, and I hope so because second round wasn't as good as the first round. We had
Yeah, no, for sure.
two sweeps, and then this series wasn't bad. But the Spurs series, we kind of knew where that was going. Obviously, Wemby getting ejected gave the
That
Timberwolves
could
an extra game, but
yeah.
we knew what was happening with that series. But anyway, anything else you got on that?
No, just it's gonna be I'm glad it's tomorrow. We don't have to wait that long, so
For sure.
it's gonna be
I'm
fun.
I'm excited for it. Speaking of the Timberwolves, we didn't really touch on them. Obviously, getting beat by the Spurs, not necessarily like a disappointing thing. You took them to six. You fought as hard as you could. Ant wasn't 100%. You're missing your starting point guard. You can only be so mad, but that being said, you can also see the holes in this roster. If you're Timberwolves GM, what's the first thing you're looking to do going into this offseason?
I am looking to break up, if not one of them, both of them, Randall and Gobert. Um, Honestly, I think I'd move Randall before I moved Gobert. Like, if I had to pick between the 2, Gobert is solid in his role as far as defense goes, um, but Randall just struggled against the Thunder last year. I mean, he did just face Wemby and the Spurs' insane defense. I'm not gonna knock on him as much, but you're not gonna win a championship with Randall being your second best player while also paying Gobert that kind of money as well. Um, Even if they didn't face the Spurs, it's just not enough to beat many
Yeah,
teams. They're very matchup dependent. They got Houston, they would have beat them. I mean, we saw them beat the Lakers due to the Lakers' size last year, but in order to be a championship team, you shouldn't have to seek matchups. You should just be able to face whoever you face and be able to take care of business. And I just don't see that with this team. And you have to make a move. I mean, if you're competing for a championship with Ant, you're going to have to make a move. And I think that starts with Julius Randle.
I think Randall's a little bit more expendable than Gobert, simply because I mean Gobert definitely plays his role. You're not really expecting a whole lot from the offensive end. You do have Nasrid to come in and get you some buckets off the bench.
Exactly.
Randall, I think what they're missing is another dynamic player, another playmaker other than Ant, especially when teams are doubling Ant and not really letting him get to where he wants to go. You need someone else who can do it. And Dosumu from time to time can give you that, but not consistently. He's more of a six man, in my opinion. So I think if they could find a way to move Randall for something a little more dynamic, that would help the flow of that offense. Obviously, if you move both him and Gobert, I would hope you're getting something huge in return. We'll see what they end up doing, but I think you go to the conference finals back to back, come up short, and then you lose to the Spurs in the second round this year. I think you have to start looking at the roster as to what can take it to the next level. You obviously know Anthony Edwards is a superstar, but what can you put around him to take that team to the next level?
Yeah, for sure. If there's a lot of things they can do. We didn't even speak on Jaden McDaniels, but I mean, you saw Desumu go, give you some big games. Same with McDaniels, but he's not consistent enough for
Yeah.
for him to be that second scorer in that kind of offense, let alone a third scorer. He's not. Um,
Yeah, and there's a lot
so
of teams that would be interested in having a guy like that. A lot of teams need a
for
guy like
sure,
that, someone who can
for
freaking
sure.
guard 1 through 5 really, and occasionally get you 20 points. Um, a lot of teams would like to have that. So yeah, he definitely has trade value. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, so that's my thing with the Timberwolves that I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to just the offseason as a whole, but
Yeah.
Minnesota, I think they probably think they're close. I mean, Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. This year, they got bounced in the second round, so I feel like they are a big Giannis move away from being right back in the Western Conference Finals and definitely giving the Spurs a run for their money, or even the Thunder, whoever it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are going to be interested in Giannis this year,
Yeah.
as well as some other players. I think we're going to see a lot of movement. This offseason is going to be really interesting, and we'll definitely be covering that as much as possible once the season comes to an end and
Yep.
we have a better idea of what everyone's looking to do. We've seen the draft order. Obviously, that always has an effect on the offseason as well as to what direction teams are going to move. So it'll be interesting. We'll get more into that later. Um, Anything else on the Thunder Spurs or anything else come to mind on the Knicks Cavs now that that is official as well?
Would the Cavs win by really quick? Do you have it on
I
still?
don't know, like 25 or 30. They beat the hell out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Cleveland's gonna have to take care of home court against the Knicks. They're gonna have to steal one in New York as well. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they're gonna have to steal one, but you got to steal one of the first two games in New York, and I don't know which game that would be, either game one or game two. They just got to take one.
Yeah, I still like New York in 6 out of this one. I think I'm just not a big fan of Cleveland, and I was hesitant to even say they were going to beat the Pistons before this series, and it ended up being a lot closer than I thought it would. I'm just not super sold on their offense or their defense. Really, their defense can look good in a lot of moments, but I'm not sold on it. I
Yeah.
I like the way the Knicks are playing basketball. I can't say the same for the Cavs. I like the way the Cavs play sometimes, but it truly just depends on if Donovan Mitchell or Harden get hot. You know, they're that's the heart
They're,
of their offense, and the
yeah,
big men typically don't do well if those guys don't do well.
for
Because
sure.
say what you want about Allen and Mobley, they're solid players, but you're not generating offense from those two guys. They're more complementary guys to the other two guards, and unless those two guards are locked in, then you're not going to see super big numbers from those guys either.
Yeah, Cleveland's a different team at home, so they'll definitely be more energized over there once those games get back to Cleveland.
Yeah, I definitely I don't see it being a 4 or 5 game series, but we'll see. Maybe it will
It
be. Who
definitely could
knows?
be 5. It definitely could be 5 if if
Yeah.
the Cavs don't steal one of the first 2 games. I definitely think the Knicks can come in and steal one for sure, and if that happens, it could definitely easily be 5.
So
But
your prediction going into this series is going to be Knicks Thunder, yeah?
yeah, Thunder will go, I think. I wanna say the Cavs, I like Mitchell. My brother's from Ohio, so I'm rooting for the Cavs, and I just don't think they're gonna pull it off.
I'm
So,
with you
yeah,
too. I got Knicks Thunder, and that'll be an interesting series too. But we won't get into that till it's actually official. But yeah, I got Knicks Thunder.
it could
Um,
be a rematch, 2007 NBA Finals, Cavs Spurs,
it could, it could, and
maybe another sweep
I would definitely be more surprised to see the Cavs in the finals than the Spurs. Like if the Spurs beat the
for sure.
Thunder, I'm not gonna be surprised at all. If the Cavs beat the Knicks, I'll honestly be a little bit surprised. But I'm not gonna be like super surprised. Like they definitely have the talent to do it. I just haven't seen enough to believe in that team at the moment.
Yeah, just the East is super, super weak this year. I mean, like
For
you
sure.
said, you're impressed with what you've seen from the Knicks, not impressed from the Cavs. Who have the Knicks played? I mean, you played
Yeah.
a very young, inexperienced Hawks team, and then you play a very little depth of a team in the Sixers with an injured Embiid. Same
Yeah.
thing for the Cavs. I mean,
Statue
Cavs, you
Embiid.
gotta get yeah, you gotta give the Cavs their flowers, though. They won back-to-back road games in this series, back-to-back game sevens, but even that, like, who have they played? I guess they did just take out the number 1 seed and a gritty Toronto team, so, I mean, shout out to them as well, but it's just a weak East, and I know whoever goes to the finals are gonna be in this mindset, "Oh, we just went to the finals, we can run it back next year," but I don't think so because the East is gonna be, you would think, stronger next year with a more healthier Tatum. Indiana's coming back.
And you never know what the offseason has in store.
Exactly.
Obviously there's going to be a lot of changes, so who knows who gets moved where and what teams look like next year. For all we know, Giannis
Yeah.
could be an Atlanta Hawk. We have no idea. So anyway, I have a fun game I wanted to play with you now that we
Yep.
finished that up. It's a stupid game. We can cut it if it sucks, but I'm going to name a player that has been in the league for a while and been with their team for a while. I'm going to see if you can guess their number.
'Kay.
All right, first one, Alex Caruso. You should know this.
Like, on the Thunder, what's his number?
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be harder than it sounds.
I don't know. It's not 0, is it?
Nope.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff anymore. I used to.
It's number 9.
I never would have guessed that.
All right,
I
here's
literally
here's
would never
one.
have guessed that.
Here's one. A guy who's been in the finals recently. He's been on his team for a few years now. Daniel Gafford.
21?
Yep, you got that one right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny you know that, not Caruso. All right, here's another one. He's been on this team for a few years, been in the league for a while. Jeremy Grant.
Um,
He's been on the Blazers for a good 3-4 years now.
I don't know. This is a Caruso kinda deal. I'm not gonna
He's number 9 as well.
I was gonna say 8. Wow.
All right, here's one. He was just in the finals last year. Been in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row before this year. Aaron Nesmith.
15?
15. No. He's 23.
No?
Isn't
Okay.
Nemhard
I was gonna say
15? No, Nemhard's 2.
yeah,
Someone.
Nembhard's 2.
All right, I got another pacer for you. TJ McConnell.
Number 1?
Another number
7?
9. Number
Another
9.
what? Okay, yeah, no, I can actually picture that. I'm
All right,
trying to just picture Caruso in my head, and I can't even see number 9 on him.
this one I had no idea he was this number. So there's no way you're gonna know this number. He's been on this team forever. He's got a
Okay.
championship. Bobby Portis.
Oh my gosh. Give me a second. He has, like I think his is like a 67 or something. No. Isn't it something crazy?
It's really not that crazy.
Okay, then hold on, let me guess. Number I don't know, dude. Number 5? Probably not.
Also number 9.
Okay, what is this, the 9 episode?
Seriously. All
Jeez.
right. Last one. Nas Reed.
11?
Yep. You
Yeah.
got 2 of them. Yeah, it's a lot harder than you would think it is. It's funny because we know all these guys. We see them play all the freaking time, but we don't even know their freaking numbers.
Can you give me one player on the Cavs team that's an NBA champion?
That's a champ.
Yep.
Uh,
He
is
plays he
it?
he plays minutes for them too. He's a big part of the
Yeah, is
team.
it Schroeder?
No,
Um,
hasn't been in the league that long. I mean, 6,
yeah,
7 years. Actually, not even that long.
I have no idea. Who is it?
He won a championship with the Bucks his rookie year.
Hell, I don't know. Is it Sam Merrill?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Merrill, but I don't remember him being in the league that long. But I do know it took him a while to come up and start getting some minutes.
Yeah, he's bounced in the G League, Memphis for a few years.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else for tonight? Somewhat short
No,
episode.
hopefully. Yeah, it's okay. We'll here come back in a week with a 4-3 Spurs win, I hope. Tired of that free throw merchant over there in Oklahoma.
It's funny how everyone starts to hate once you start winning games, because he had we've had this conversation before, but the years that he shot the most free throws, nobody gave a shit because they weren't winning. But now that they're winning, it's all of a sudden a problem. It was the same thing when, um, I mean, it's really the same thing when anyone freaking wins. There's always something to complain about. Everyone was bitching about the Warriors when they were winning. Everyone was bitching about Harden when, understandably so. I think he's the worst of all time with the free throw thing. Um, Embiid as well. He's horrible when it comes to the free throw thing. It is frustrating to watch, but all the good players do it, and you can't really blame them because there's no easier way to get points. But it is annoying as a fan. Ultimately, it's on the freaking refs to make the right call, but it is annoying. I don't think there's any way to freaking change it. And like we were saying, a lot of times these guys do get fouled and it doesn't get called. And so
Yeah.
that's why they start flopping around like a fish out of water, is because if they don't, they're not going to call it. But it is
Yeah.
definitely annoying to see because it definitely transforms the game into something else.
Yeah, it's make an episode on SGA. He'll have his own segment.
We'll see going into this series. I think they're going to let him play in this series. They're going to have to because, first off, freaking, if they called every single foul, both of the Thunder and the Spurs would foul out immediately because they both play so physical, especially like Steph Castle and Lou Dort, like guys like that. They play so freaking
Yeah,
physical that we'll see how it's called. I'm sure the refs will probably set the tone early and just let them play, and unless it's like super egregious,
for
I think they'll
sure.
let
I
them go
mean,
at it. So
they they've let the Timberwolves go at Wemby. He's taken so many cheap shots already. I mean, if
yeah,
they started calling everything, he'd have 40 free throws a game.
for sure. It's like the LeBron effect. Like when LeBron was in his prime, every single time he went to the basket, he was getting fouled. But again, if you call all of them,
Rightfully so.
he's gonna have some Bam Adebayo free throw
Oh
numbers.
gosh. Yeah, for sure.
All right, you got anything else you want to say
All
for
right.
tonight?
No, that's all.
All righty. Once again, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.